Hey guys, I came out to the garden to get ready to shoot this video, and the most lovely rain shower is taking place right now. So I'm very thankful for my lovely umbrella, and it is accompanied by a pretty fantastic breeze. So I am for it right now. Alright, so I have been asked quite a bit on my Instagram and on videos that I put out on my channel what I plan on planting for fall. And I'm going to dive all into this. I will be sharing with you guys the crops that I plan on planting in the tunnel that will be strictly profit-driven crops, things that I know sell well, I have a market for, things that are high producers. Then I'm going to show you guys things that I'm going to be planting in my backyard garden. And a lot of the shift that I'm going to be doing this fall is the space back here. I will be growing foods that we enjoy with the intentions of just putting up the things that I grow back here. And also there's a few varieties as far as like radishes and beets and some carrots that I'm wanting to figure out which ones I like, which ones produce well. So I'm going to be doing experiments on those in my backyard garden for following seasons in the tunnel. I'm going to show you guys the seeds that I get. I have most of the seed packets with me, but I do also have my nice little Johnny's catalog. So what I plan on ordering that I haven't already gotten in, I'm just going to flip to the page in my Johnny's catalog and show you. Most of my production crops will be Johnny's. Johnny's germination is really well, and they also like guarantee like 98% germination, I believe. Let me grab. Yeah, so Johnny's has a 98% germ rate. Something else I really appreciate from Johnny's is the back is very descriptive on their packet. So it tells you your average direct seeding rate, and it will specify it for bunchings, for baby leaves, for transplants. Give you guys a nice little view. It's just very detailed. Versus, and I think, okay, I like all of these seed companies. So let me just start by saying that. I want you guys to know like my heart in this. I like a lot of different seed companies. However, for production crops, I primarily go with Johnny's because one, they have a really high germination rate, as to where some other companies do a lot of heirlooms. They can't guarantee their germination rate because of that. Also, here's the back of another seed packet. Now, as you can see back here, it just tells you what the variety is, and for planting instructions, it just says best grown in frost of spring or fall, direct seed or transplant, prefers rich soil. So it's a pretty basic description as to where this one, it even tells me like the culture. So it tells me provide fertile soil with a pH of 6.0 to 7.5 and irrigation for best crops. I mean, these catalogs for a production standpoint, wanting to get the most bang out of your buck, Johnny's is just going to be much more descriptive on those things. So these are all things that I've had to learn. I was the type of person that when I got ready to plant my summer garden, my fall garden, whatever it looked like, I would flip through my seed catalog. I would think, oh my gosh, that is so cute, I have to have it. And that is exactly what it looked like. And then I planted it in my garden. I didn't really space appropriately. I didn't get the most yield out of my space whatsoever. I just thought, oh, that is so fun, I'm gonna grow it. Now, I was talking about the other day how I somewhat struggle with being a free spirit and being professional, and realizing that there has to be a good balance in the two. And you guys know, like, I am very much so still in the learning stage of intensifying my crops, getting high yields on my crops. Those are all things that I'm really not familiar with. I'm used to growing a backyard garden and then selling that. I'm not used to just growing at such a larger scale, which is what the tunnels are offering me. So one thing that my friend recently told me, a very good bit of advice that I'm going to pass along to you guys. If you are growing in your backyard garden, by all means, flip to the seed catalog. Grow what makes you feel good. Grow what makes you feel happy. For me, I love growing in the fall because the weather's fantastic. I can spend long hours out here with my babies, and it's just great. I can come out here and see something growing that, you know, you don't typically see a lot of green and lush and things like that into the fall and the winter. So I really enjoy planting those things in my backyard. So by all means, like I said, go through the catalog, pick out what makes your heart happy. But if you are wanting to grow in a tunnel this fall and extend your growing season and wanting to hone up on your profitability, then I would take a different route. So his advice was, do not buy the seeds until you know what you want to grow and what space you want to grow it in. That way you are only buying seeds for what you intend to plant. Now, for someone like myself, that was really hard. I didn't like that answer, yet the business side of me knew that that was the answer I needed. I love flipping through the catalog and just buying what sparks joy. But I know that to be profitable in farming, you can't do that. Like, every dollar counts. The way you go about it and execute things 100% makes a difference in your profitability at the end of the season. So I had to go to the tunnel. I had to figure out what I was going to put where, when I was going to transplant out my tomatoes, when I was going to be finishing harvesting those tomatoes, what I was going to replace it with. Well, okay. This song was like just, this bird was just singing me the most crazy song. So I had to figure those things out. I had to figure out the way to be the most profitable with these crops. So that is what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys, and I put it all out. So I just write it all out on paper. I'm going to show you what I intend to grow in the tunnels and why, what I intend to put in my backyard and why. So this is going to be a pretty detailed, probably a lengthier video than I usually do, just going through and showing you guys these varieties. But some of these I know for a fact are high yield crops and they do really well. And those are all things that I want to show you guys and tell you guys. I want to just give you guys the best information that I can. And I know that may not be the most exciting thing, but you guys have requested it. So I hope that this helps you. As always, if you have questions, leave them below. I'd be happy to talk to you about anything. I would also recommend, if you have the means, put it all in an Excel spreadsheet, what you plan on planting, in what row, how many seeds you ordered, everything like that. The more that you keep up with this, the better it will be, especially moving forward seasons. You can go back and look like, oh yeah, I ordered way too much of that, or I needed to order more of that, or whatever. If you don't have a way to do an Excel spreadsheet, by all means, that's fine. Grab a pen and paper and jot it down. I have an Excel spreadsheet and I still jot my stuff down. I'm one of those that I like to physically write things out. So this helps me just kind of get a better visual on it. I will have tomatoes in the tunnel until around November. Once I pull those out, those are the Grand Marshall variety by Johnny's. They're really heat tolerant. I think they will do really, really well for when we're kicking into July and August and things like that. I will follow that though with some lettuce varieties. So the lettuce that I'm going to be following in the tunnels from the tomatoes is the Encore lettuce mix. This is from Johnny's Seeds. This is a really profitable lettuce. I know this because I've spoke to other farmers. I've done my research. This one just came really, really highly recommended. This is a new variety to me, but a lot of lettuces and greens and kales and things like that are a big shift of what I will be going into. There's also a really high profit for baby greens. I will be doing arugula. I will harvest this as a baby green. And then the only like bigger lettuce is a Muir lettuce. These came from Johnny's too. They're just in this small seeds. And as you can see, I don't have a lot, so I'm just going to do a couple of these and test it out and see how I like it. I really like the idea of doing the baby green shift and not really doing head lettuces. So these are a few that I'm going to try these out and see what I think, see if it's worth moving forward with those. Like a lot of these baby green mixes, they can get bigger if you want, or you can just harvest them as greens. We will probably be buying a greens harvester just because it makes most sense. We'll probably be trying to come up with a bubbler type of system, and that is something you need to be mindful of. If you're wanting to shift into greens for profitable farming, it is 100% doable, but there are some extra things that you need in place for once you harvest those greens. So I will just mention that. But in the tunnel, I'm going to be trying to put out a lot of baby greens just because I know I can get rid of it and they thrive in the fall type environment. So a lot of these actually are Baker Creek, and I've grown a lot of these in our backyard and I like them. These will also be something that will be in the backyard garden for my family, and then I also plan to buy bulk and do in the tunnel. And this is the Red Wing lettuce mix. As you can see, there's so many beautiful different lettuces, and that's one of the cool things about Johnny's actually, is you can go in and create your own baby greens mix, and it's really cool. You can put together what you like. and figure out what works best for you. A lot of times if I order a bunch of different baby greens like arugula and things like that, I'll just mix all the seeds together. That way I get some sort of mix. But with Johnny's, you can actually pinpoint and know which ones you want to order, create your own mix, and I really enjoy the idea of that. Then I've got this Rocky Top lettuce. I grew this earlier in the spring and it did really good until it started getting really hot naturally. This is also a Baker Creek variety. But look how beautiful they are. And these did really, really well. They had good texture. They had a bunch of leaves in them that were like a good crunch, and then kind of your flatter ones. I don't know, it was just a really good mixture together. And then I also have some that I've ordered from Botanical Interest. They have an incredible germination rate. They are primarily where I buy all my microgreen seeds, and I've just really, really enjoyed this. This is a market day lettuce mix, and it's done really well. So I intend on putting that in there as well. And then this is the same thing. This is just a mix that they have. Along with the baby greens, kale kind of fits into that green family. We'll be growing a lot of kale. Again, I have a market for it, so I would kind of be silly not to. Kale does phenomenal in my growing zone. I am in zone 7B. Kale just thrives. I remember having kale literally all winter. I mean, I had it all fall, I had it all winter, I had it all spring. The only time I don't grow kale here is in the summer, and it just does so well. It's so versatile. We use a lot of it for juicing. We sell a lot. We make a lot of kale chips. We dehydrate it down. I've even made kale powder to use as a seasoning. So kale is something that I will forever be growing back here, and this year I'm excited because I'm going to designate a much bigger space for kale. I'm going to be doing the scarlet kale. This I will do in the tunnel and in my backyard. Look how beautiful that is though. I absolutely love it. This one I tried to grow this spring, and I don't know, it did really well, but it didn't I think I transplanted it out too late to where it just got too hot too quickly. Here's the fancy name. It's also known as Dino Kale. And I love this. I plan on putting a lot of this in my garden and in the tunnel, and I definitely would encourage you guys to put it on your list too. And here's a dwarf blue kale. This is from Botanical Interest. I will also order the Black Magic Kale from Johnny's, and it is a really good high producer. As far as productive kale, the Black Magic has probably been the most productive, followed by the Dino Kale. Granted, I said I didn't have much success, but it was also when I was growing it. If you grow this in the right time of year, this stuff is where the money is at. Now, I've only ever grown collards one time, and I think it was 2 years ago. Nathan loves collard greens, so I definitely want to grow more for him per his request. But Alan and Angela out at Rabbit Ridge have also asked that I grow a lot of collards. Something that they do is they offer delivery boxes for their protein, and they're going to be adding on for our local community where they can order produce and things like that, and the whole box gets delivered to their house. So we've reached out to a lot of people in our community, and these are also things that they are asking for this fall and winter, which is really encouraging. And I really recommend you guys do that too. If you're wanting to maybe not just plant fall crops for your backyard and for your family, and you're wanting to sell them, reach out to your community, ask what they are interested in. That is one of the biggest things I've learned, is do not grow something if you can't sell it, because especially something like collards, there's not a real good way to store collards. You need to harvest them and you need to use them, and so just being mindful of that, what can store well. If you have something like carrots, obviously you can harvest carrots and store them for a while, and that's fine, but just really hone in on who your consumer is, what you want out of your garden, if it is for your family or if it's to sell. Just figuring those things out ahead of time before you actually start diving into the planting. And this is the perfect time. I know when I had put on my Instagram story, what are some must-grow fall crops, which I'm always down to add new varieties into our backyard garden. So if you have something that you absolutely think you've got to grow this fall, please leave it below, because I would love to feature it in the garden, and just know that it came recommended by you guys. I think it would be really cool. So I'm only going to be doing 2 varieties of collard greens. I'm going to be doing this Vates by Baker Creek. And then this is just a Flash F1 hybrid from Johnny's. This one also came recommended to me from another farmer. He said he just had really, really good luck. So I would consider this one a profitable crop. This one this one I'll grow from Johnny's in the tunnel because I know that it's going to be profitable and it's going to put out a lot of high yields. This one, I don't know how it's going to do, so I'm going to grow this in the backyard garden and just be taking notes and figuring out if it did well, how close I could plant them, how much I could get out of a certain space, and then that'll give me a good idea of how much I can get out of a space in the tunnel as well. I know that I got asked a lot, why are you already thinking about fall crops? So for me, while I'm in the thick of a season, I am always preparing and, you know, getting ready for the next season. So I'm in the thick of the summer harvest. Our tomatoes are starting to turn. We're about to get really busy in that. But I know that next week I'm going to be transplanting out my last round of tomatoes, which means I need to get ready. If I'm going to start these things and be transplanting them out and not direct seeding them, I need to know what seeds I need to order. I need to get those ordered. I need to be starting seeds really soon. So even though we're just in July and you think, oh, the summer garden is still actually thriving, it is, but you're constantly having to prepare for the next season. So that is why I'm already trying to get this video out to you guys. That way, if you're wanting to go ahead and buy seeds for your fall crops, you guys can go ahead and get ahead of the game, figure out where you want to put everything, and you guys can just like kill the fall season. Y'all, this is probably one of my favorites. This is probably one of my favorite fall crops to grow, and that is carrots. Oh my gosh, I grew carrots through the winter. I think it was like 2 years ago, and I had such good success. So usually I planted my carrots here in the spring, and then I learned the hard way that carrots in Arkansas in the spring just don't do that well the way I was trying to do it. So that's like the varieties I did, how I was planting them. I planted them way too late. I've just had a really crummy carrot harvest year after year after year. So finally, I think it was 2 years ago, I like blew it out of the park. I realized, oh my gosh, I could grow these successfully, and they were so much fun. So I knew that I really wanted to emphasize on carrots this year. I have got a Adeline F1 from Johnny's. This will be the carrots that I put in the tunnel because they just do really, really good. I can order these really bulk, so I can order a big bag like this from Johnny's, and that is quite a few carrot seeds, as you can imagine. And that's one reason why I buy a lot from Johnny's, is they have really good bulk prices. They're certified organic, you know, so these are just things that I'm taking into consideration when I'm buying. But Baker Creek is where it is at for all the fun varieties. I'm also going to be doing, so here's the Adeline, but I'm going to be doing a baby carrot, just a small little carrot that I'll grow in the tunnels too. But let's just look at all these. I'm going to show you guys each of these varieties. I'm going to be planting all of these in my backyard, and I'm going to figure out which one I liked the taste of most. I'm going to figure out which one produced the most. I've heard that Johnny's has a rainbow carrot variety that does really, really well too, and it's pretty comparable to the Adeline. But I just can't get over these. Like, every time I go to Baker Creek, like, the first thing I want to do is buy carrot seeds. And even when I look in the catalog, it's like the carrots and the radishes get me every single time. Okay, y'all ready for this? This is gonna be good. Here's the black nubula. Look how pretty this is, you guys. I can't even. I just can't wait. Here's a, I don't know, I'm not even gonna try to butcher that, but man, when I think of things that spark joy to grow, this is exactly what comes to mind. Here's a black Spanish. Here's a purple dragon. As you can tell, I kind of gravitate towards the purples and things like that. I just think they're so fun. And my kids love carrots, but they are so prone to eat a beautiful carrot like this. The carrots that I had grown in the past, they were just a lot of random different carrots from Baker Creek, and my kids just thought it was so cool to harvest all these carrots that weren't orange like the carrots that we bought at the store. So I've grown some of these in the past, but I don't remember which ones, so forgive me of that. But I would encourage you guys to just try all of them. If you have the liberty, you know, and the funds are there to just be able to experiment with some things, I think radishes and carrots are a fun thing to experiment with, which is exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, I think it's fun. Here's a red one. Oh, the name's red. There you go. Here's a cosmic purple. Here's a Kyoto red. And then these, when I told Nathan I was planting these this year, he was like, really? How adorable are these? They are just these fat little squatty, yeah, they're just these fat squatty little carrots, and I just think that they are the cutest thing ever. And I think that's important. Like, you guys will hear me say so many times, I can't just grow the same thing over and over again. I will get burnt out. I get bored. I want something to spark my interest. And for me, if it's growing these, you know, crazy carrot varieties as an experiment in my backyard, I feel like I will always pursue that. I hope that that's something that no matter how successful our farm gets, and that's obviously our end goal. We want to have a profitable farm. I want to grow profitable crops, but I also want to have so much joy in what I'm doing. I want it to spark interest in my kids to where they want to grow food. And for me, these small crops doing that are fun, that are beautiful, I love it. And I hope that I will always have this moment right here where I think, man, that I'm gonna keep doing, because I like the way that gets me giddy inside. I like the way that when I rip up that purple carrot, it just sparks excitement in my kids' eyes. So I want to teach you guys how to be profitable and how to farm profitable. I do, but I also want you guys to enjoy what you're doing, and what that may look like may alter in what season you're in. Speaking of fun crops, this is one that, oh my gosh, total experiment, and I've heard mixed reviews on it. I've been told don't grow this as a profitable crop at all. They just don't size up like what you would think, but that is the Chinese pink celery. I don't know if you've seen these on Baker Creek's Instagram, but I really recommend you guys go check it out or grab their seed catalog. It is just like the most beautiful light pink stems. Now, it doesn't get as big as a normal bunch of celery would, and for me, that's okay. I really only use celery to juice, and I just think this will be one of those things that if it doesn't produce a ton, I don't intend to sell it, so I'm okay if it's just something fun that I grow. So this is one of those fall crops that I'm growing just for fun. I'm curious to see how it does, and I've heard that it tastes really well, so that is also a benefit. Is I know it's going to taste well, but as far as the yields, I'm probably just not going to get high yields off that, but that's okay. Another fun thing I love growing that is actually really profitable in the market garden is radishes. So these are very, very profitable. They do really well at a farmer's market. They do really good at a CSA. You'd be surprised, even a lot of restaurants buy radishes. So I will be planting a ton of radishes in the tunnel. They interplant really well if that's something that you're looking into doing. So for me, a lot of these will probably be going in the tunnel, and I'll be buying bulk, and I will also be just growing a lot of these in the backyard. I really want to learn how to ferment radishes. My friend is like fantastic at fermenting all things, so I'm hoping maybe I can talk her into helping me. But this is the Easter basket mix. I've grown this in years past, and it is a show out. It does really good. It grows super uniform on the round ones. They're just, I really, really like that one. Here's a deep purple. This one also did really, really well. The Scarlet Globe, I actually grew this one in the spring. It does really, really well here in the spring. Even put out until it started getting a bit hotter, and then they started getting woody and things like that. But this is one that I would think you could grow definitely spring up until it starts getting hot. And the thing is, you can grow radishes whenever, really. But when it starts getting hot, they start getting spicy. They start getting woody really quickly. But I've even grown radishes in the dead of summer before, just because we like put them on something that we wanted a little extra kick in, or I would roast them and just mix them in with my regular roasted potatoes, and it was just a nice little alternative. But they definitely thrive in the fall or early spring. But I would say, if you're into experimenting, chunk that in your garden and just see what happens. This is the round Spanish. I also have a long black Spanish. These you can't grow in the summertime, because these things, holy smokes, these get so hot. I remember when I was getting ready to plant out my summer garden, and I'd posted something about this. One of my friends texted me, and they were like, do not plant that in the summertime. It'll be so hot that you can't even eat it. So I'll definitely just do these in the fall. But how cool, like the thought that I can do red and black and purple and pink, like I just love that. And you have to think too, I don't think I'm the only one that gets excited about pretty food. Like if it's appealing, you're gonna buy it. So I sell to a farm stand. She's local in our community, and she's like launching a farm store. It's like a locally owned and sourced grocery store, which is really, really cool. It's right next door to her farm. I will be selling a lot of things to her. So how cool would it be to be able to walk into a grocery store and see all of these beautiful radishes? When you walk into a grocery store right now, you just see your typical red round radish, which there is nothing that's just like, you know, starry eyes over that. So I think that if I grow things that I feel like are beautiful, I'm going to eat them. And my hope is that I can grow beautiful things that produce a high yield for my friends and my community and things like that, that can also think, oh man, I want to buy this. And maybe even try food that they've never tried before. With the tromboncino squash, it's really hard for me to sell it because it's so different. But I'm thinking, you know, if someone walked into a grocery store and saw that, it might just spike their interest to where they think, well, maybe I can do this with that. Or what if this squash can replace just, you know, a straight neck or a crook neck squash, and just, you know, get the creativity flowing. Just expose people to different foods, different varieties of foods. I really enjoy doing that, and I think that kind of comes across more so in my fall garden than my summer garden. I do a lot of different tomato varieties. I do a lot of different tomato varieties, and I like that. But in this fall, I feel like I can just express myself more, because there's honestly just a lot of beautiful colors that you can grow and root vegetables in your fall garden, which I really appreciate. And then this Chinese red meat, it's also known as a watermelon radish. This one came super, super recommended. I grew this several years ago from seeds that I got from a seed swap, and I really liked it. I'd planted it late in the season. Again, just new gardener, not knowing when to properly plant what. And honestly, that just comes with time. There's still sometimes I plant things out and I was like, I don't think I planted this in the right time. So forever learning for sure, but I've been told that these are really good. Alright, let's start wrapping it up. Something else we're going to do that I've not ordered seeds for yet is cabbage. We're going to be doing the tiara cabbage from Johnny's. It is a really uniform size head. It yields like 3 to 4 pound cabbages, which is really nice. They store well. So I will be growing those. We will be doing some kohlrabi. This is one of Nathan's favorites. I think I'll do kohlrabi in the backyard and in the tunnel. The thing with kohlrabi is how much I grow in the tunnel is going to depend on the seller, because they're not going to last. They're not a storage crop. So once I harvest them, I need to get rid of them rather quickly. So I don't know how many of these I'll do, but I do think it'll be fun to kind of see how well it does. We'll also do broccoli in our backyard. We've done cauliflower before, and it just doesn't do as well as broccoli. But last year we had a very, very successful broccoli year, and I haven't nailed down what varieties that I like. Someone recommended the Lieutenant broccoli, which I think I may look at. The broccoli that I grew last year, it did well as far as production. It did great. But the taste and the texture of it was really odd to me. I don't know, it almost tasted really earthy, and I don't even remember the variety of it, but I know, okay, I think I just want to try a different one. I really wanted to do the sprouting broccolis, but in my area those take a really long time, and I would love to say I do Brussels sprouts, but if you guys have been following my garden tour, you know that I just don't have the heart to do Brussels. They're such a long crop. They're like a 120-day crop or something like that. I'm just not gonna do it, because I know I could plant a bunch of other things and just be a lot more productive with that. And then something else that I am so excited. I haven't ordered seeds. I have been rummaging through the catalog. Let me even get there for you guys. Oh, and I forgot to mention beets. I will be doing beets. I'll probably be doing the same varieties, the bull's blood, the mammoth red, and then there was these round baby beets. So these actually end up just being like a radish. They're very, very small. So these are another one I'm going to be growing as well. But y'all, you ready? I would love to grow some pumpkins. I think that would be so cool to be able to grow some decorative pumpkins. Maybe my decorative corn will have made an ear or so, and I can say that I decorated my house for fall with pumpkins that I grew. So I don't know, there are a lot of these on here that look very, very appealing to me. I'm gonna go through and just figure out, do some research and just figure out what's gonna work well in my area. But that's another new thing that I'm adding to the farm that I've never grown before. I've heard that they're super easy, so fingers crossed that that is the case. I've heard people of just like throwing pumpkins in their compost and then growing like a whole yard full of pumpkins, and I think that's really cool. I also think that like my kids would love this, and that is something you guys will hear me talk about a lot. When you get in the thick of your growing season, or even, you know, January is a huge seed starting, January, February, I spend a lot of time in the greenhouse starting a lot of seeds, which is a lot of time that I'm away from my family. So I always try to just get my kids as involved as I can. They are much more keen to help in the fall garden because it's cooler outside, they can play. They really like the idea of like pulling up a root vegetable and not being able to see what it looks like until they harvest it, which is also really cool. But I just encourage you guys, if this is something that you're pouring a lot of time and energy to, try to get your family involved as much as possible, because it makes it a lot easier on you. And once they find the joy in that, they'll actually be asking you. So my oldest, Peyton, she's at that stage where she's really wanting to help start seeds, transplant things. She's asking a lot of questions, and I find myself always reminding myself to be patient with my children and think, well, they genuinely just want to know. And I want to teach her everything that she wants to know about it. And you never know, like one day I may have a bunch of farmers on my hands, some female farmers, which would be so awesome. So I just encourage you guys, be patient with your kids, let them learn from you and grow with you. Everyone's learning. It's a learning experience for all of us, no matter what age that we are. So I really hope that planting a fall garden can kind of help your kids get hands-on with it as well. Alright you guys, that wraps up what I'm planting this fall, why I'm planting it. I hope this gives you a good idea on the profitable crops if that's what you're wanting to do, and then just some fun crops. I really encourage you guys, look through your seed catalogs, figure out what works for you and what you want out of your farm or your backyard garden. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.